I'm Sarah Baxley, and welcome to Pinky the Bear. This is my mystics, metaphysics, and mindfulness channel, and I'm here today with your astrology forecast for the week of October 28th, 2018. So the two upcoming themes for this week are 1. Lighting the fire, and 2. Coming full circle. Alright, so let's start out with the first theme of the week, which is lighting the fire. I cannot even tell you how excited I am because this upcoming Tuesday we have a planet, aside from the transiting moon and aside from the nodes of the moon, that's going to be in a fire sign. We have not had fire in the planets since September 6th when Mercury, I think, was in Leo. But so just like really quickly, fire is like, so fire signs, let's just review, right? Is Leo, is Sagittarius, and is Aries. Oh my god, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I don't know why I totally blinked on that. Anyway, those are fire signs, right? And basically fire signs, fire is, it like gets things going, you know, it gets things, it kind of is like an activator, right? It kind of riles things up. It's definitely more, as far as the polarities are concerned, it's more yang on the spectrum. It's more like getting it going and kind of, you know, just kind of shaking things up a little bit. And, you know, we have had zero fire, aside from the transiting moon, okay? And aside from the nodes of the moon. We haven't had any planets in fire since September 6th. And so this upcoming Tuesday, we have Mercury moving its way into Sagittarius, which is not the strongest place for Mercury to be in the world, because Mercury wants to have, you know, it wants to communicate, it wants to, you know, have conversation, it wants to kind of like bounce from thought to thought and idea to idea. And, you know, the energy of Sagittarius, since it's ruled by Jupiter, is very much about like, let's explore everything all at once, right? So it's a mouthful for Mercury. So it's not necessarily the strongest place for Mercury to be. However, I don't care. I am so excited to have some fire. I cannot even tell you. That is just my own side note. And you know, this is the thing, is it's giving us a precursor, because on November 8th, actually, I think November 6th, I believe, we have, November 6th, Uranus dips back into Aries, right? Which will be the next fire sign that gets added to the group. And then 2 days later, November 8th, we have not only the moon going into Sagittarius, but we have Jupiter going into Sagittarius as well, for the first time in like 12 to 13 years that we have Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is... Jupiter loves it some Sagittarius, let me tell you. So, so this is just, it's almost like this week the fire is getting going. Like it's almost like the flame has been lit, and we're just going to kind of continue that momentum. We're especially going to feel it that week, like November 6th, November 8th, and then we'll have, the sun ingress into Sagittarius like later on in the month of November. So there will just be a little bit more flame. There will be a little bit more gusto, right? A little bit more energy and action, you know, kind of starting to kind of enter into our consciousness. I mean, definitely the last few weeks we really have been kind of dipping into this, you know, very much like emotional part of ourselves, like very much kind of like diving into kind of like, you know, deeper emotions or deeper kind of fixed things that maybe we've been holding on to for, you know, a really long time. And, you know, kind of things that aren't necessarily very easy. So I cannot even tell you. I am just really excited to have a little bit of fire going on. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, so that's where I have lighting the fire, right? So yeah, so that's lighting the fire. I'm just super pumped. I just feel like it's like the flame has kind of been lit, and we're gonna get ready to kind of come in with this momentum, especially feeling it like around, you know, that November 6th, November 8th week. I'm just so excited. Anyway, okay, let me transition over to our second theme of the week, which is coming full circle. And there's a couple things with this. one of the big things is that we had Venus station retrograde, right, last month, the beginning of October. And it was stationed retrograde in Scorpio. And so it's slowly kind of done this dance where it's like, you know, gone back, like not really gone backwards in the sky, but it appears to go backwards in the sky. So then it's kind of going back and it's ingressing back into, making its way back into Libra, which Venus rules Libra. I mean, Venus is Libra's boss. That is a very favorable place for Venus to be, right? And thank goodness, because we've kind of gone through a lot, right? Myself included, over the last couple weeks, right? And so we have Venus ingress into Libra, and we also have, right before it does, this all happens on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, Halloween, by the way, but it comes up this upcoming Wednesday, and we also have the second Venus-Uranus opposition that we have this year. And the first one we had, I think, was about like September 12th-ish. We have another one that comes up on this upcoming Wednesday, so Halloween. And then the last one will hit again November 30th, right? And that will be, these last two have been in fixed signs. This last one will be in cardinal signs at 29 degrees Libra, right? 29 Libra and then obviously 29 Aries respectively. So, you know, it's just, there has been a lot of these themes around interpersonal relationships, around like our one-on-one, around, you know, what kinds of emotions and feelings do we share with others, you know, around, you know, how much development do we have, you know, for our own, you know, development, for our own growth, right? Whether or not that's our own spiritual growth, whether or not that's kind of like working through certain things that maybe have been difficult for us emotionally that we've been holding on to, you know, like it's almost like we've just been doing a lot of this internal work. And I put coming full circle because not only do we have that Venus-Uranus hit, which again, Uranus is kind of like spontaneous change or kind of giving like a little bit of a zing, right? It's kind of like giving Venus like a little zing there. So there's just kind of like a certain energy that I feel like is kind of getting activated, and then it does it, and then Venus immediately goes back into Libra. And, you know, I just think, and this is also on the same day that we had the last quarter moon. And for those of you that follow me on Instagram, which is kind of where I put most of my notes and everything else at Pinky the Bear, so you can follow me there, is that I always post at the new moon, first quarter moon, full moon, and last quarter moon because they are really major turning points generally, right? It's like the new moon's the beginning of the story, the first quarter moon is the rising action, the full moon is the peak of the story, and then the last quarter moon is like the final wrapping up or like the final turning of events, and sometimes can even signify the final turning of events and kind of like be a foreshadowing for what the next moon cycle and chapter is going to be about. So just really keep an eye out. I know it happens to fall exactly on Halloween this particular round, kind of strange, whatever, you know, it's just that's just the way that it works. But the thing is that there's just going to be kind of like this like shift of energy, and it's not just in one place. It's not just the last quarter moon and kind of that general shift of energy, but it's also the Venus shifting into Libra. It's also the Venus-Uranus opposition, right, where we kind of like have a zing, right? And I feel like we're kind of coming full circle again back to this theme where we're starting to kind of, I see this Wednesday as we're starting to kind of wrap up whatever this kind of like deep emotional thing is that we've been going through. You know, we have the fire coming in on Tuesday with Mercury in Sagittarius. We have all these things coming in to kind of change this upcoming Wednesday with that last quarter moon. And it's just, you know, we're just, things are moving, things are shifting, things are getting ready to kind of come full circle, and it's like this kind of like deep place that we've been buried in for a while, kind of like sifting on and kind of like chewing on our feelings and kind of like really exploring like deeper depths. I see us kind of getting ready to like come out, almost like new growth, like coming out of the ground. So anyway, so it's very exciting. These upcoming next couple weeks I feel like are very exciting, very, very happy. I'm obviously a very happy camper to have some fire coming back. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. If you're watching, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, and I will see you around. All right, thanks again. Cheers.